All right, our next chapter is the art of batch cooking. It is one of the easiest and simplest ways of creating a six senses nourishment, simply batch cooking. And we're going to be using this for the nourishment program as well as the meals that you're going to be cooking throughout this program. All right, so what is batch cooking? Well, batch cooking simply means that you're cooking a larger quantity of food instead of making single meals. And this is so big for my family people. If you have at least two or more in your household, this is imperative because if you can double, sometimes triple batch a recipe, that is going to help you so much throughout the week. All right, so the best tool to make that transition is planning ahead. So if you can look at your schedule and figure out times throughout the week that you can plan, dedicate maybe 1 or 2 hours, like I like to dedicate at least 2 hours on Sundays from 3 to 5 to cook the bulk of my meals for that week. You can also find spurts of time throughout the week, like you can mix it up and do a Sunday and a Wednesday, so you at least have food for 3-4 days increments. But either way, planning ahead is going to set you up for success. All right, so this technique not only does it encompass planning ahead, but it helps you to see that you can have little spurts of time throughout the week to do little mini preps. So for example, if you're working from home and you're on a Zoom call and you don't necessarily have to show your face, you can mute that in your voice, and I'm speaking from experience. And you could just chop your veggies, or you can cook a protein item, something if you have at least 20 to 30 minutes. This could also look like ordering your groceries online, so you don't have to spend hours at the grocery store. It could be chopping veggies or fruits. It could be putting meat from the freezer and thawing it into the refrigerator. It can be those type of simple things. All right, real life scenario, people. Do you normally hurry to get out of the door in the morning? That question is 100% yes for all of my clients, and it may resonate with you. If you are so busy in the morning, you're trying to get the kids ready for school, you're trying to get ready for work, you've got your animals going crazy, you've got so much chaos first thing in the morning, it is so easy to neglect breakfast. So if you have leftovers or breakfast egg muffins that you have on hand, so something of a good fat and protein source to keep you satiated for that morning, then do it. And batch cooking and planning ahead is going to help you set up for success in that way. All right, so in this nourishment program, you will cook base recipes that will either pair with other base recipes or pre-made, pre-cut items like fresh greens, eggs, fruit, and things of that nature. So one simple way to cook your protein, for example, is cooking at least 2 pounds of meat or more. And you will see in one of these weeks where in this image, we will have 1 pound of meat, or you can do 2 pounds of meat depending on how big your family is. You will cook that kind of like Mexican style, and the other one barbecue style. And it goes well with your starchy carb, your non-starchy, your fats, proteins, your probiotic fat and flavor, and those kind of components where you're batching those items as well. So if you have 2 or 3 items per component, then you're easily able to mix and match depending on your preference, your taste for that time of the meal, and that sort of thing. All right, convenience foods are my favorite, and you can attribute that to packaged foods. Now, I will have a resource guide at the end on packaged pre-made meals where you need to look at the ingredient labels. And so right here, I've honed in on specific convenience foods that will either have little minimum ingredients that are real whole food sources, or it's just simply looking at a food a different way. So convenience meal could be easy as like fresh produce, right? Having greens that are already pre-washed, frozen vegetables, steamable, microwavable bags, dressing, sauces, marinades could be from Primal Kitchen, which is a very good clean brand that uses real ingredients. Things of that nature. If we can figure out what those convenience foods are when we have times of decision fatigue, or we don't want to make a homemade meal every time, or we're cut on time when we batch cook our recipes, convenience foods are imperative. And here's an example of how you can do a convenience meal. So we've got all of the components to create a six senses nourish meal. For example, with a starchy carb, we've got sweet potatoes. So if you don't have 25 or 40 minutes to roast potatoes, opt for those steamable sweet potato bags. Another option too is air frying. Air frying takes like 5 to 7 minutes to roast potatoes. Next is avocados, so your fat source. If your avocados are taking forever to ripen or you just missed the mark, then those little packaged avocado spreads are gold. And I really like using the Holy Avocado brand because it's 100% avocado, and some of them do have like the seasonings already made in there, but I like to put my convenience foods seasonings already in it so I can control the sodium and the content, because some of them might have gluten fillers in them. So if you don't have time to make sauce, marinade, or dressing for your protein, that's where I love using Primal Kitchen. You can do, and that's what we'll show, you can do a barbecue style, you can do Mexican, you can do ranch, all of those different flavors. If you simply add a marinade on your protein, then you're automatically upping your flavor. So this is just a very good convenience meal example, and that's just a little peek of what your meals for the rest of the 4 weeks will look like.